Of course. Let's begin this gently, truthfully, just as Alan Watts might. Not from a place of intellectual explanation, but from the quiet space in the heart that already knows. You've felt it before, haven't you? That strange warmth when someone from your past crosses your mind out of nowhere. No reason, no context, just suddenly, they're there. Their name, a laugh you haven't heard in years, a face you haven't seen in forever. It's as if your memory becomes a window and for a moment, they stand right there again, alive in you.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Now what if at that exact moment they were thinking of you, too? That's not a fantasy. That's not coincidence. That's something deeper, older, and more mysterious than we know how to measure. Because despite everything we've been told, despite the noise, the screens, the timelines, and inboxes, there's something that connects us still. Something that never left. Someone from your past is still thinking about you, and you don't know it. Maybe they never said goodbye properly. Maybe they never got to say thank you. Or maybe they never forgot what it meant. That one night you listened when nobody else did. That time you smiled and meant it. That moment when, without realizing it, you helped them feel seen. These aren't little things. They're the kind of moments that stay. Not always loudly. Sometimes quietly, like a song you can't place, humming in the background. But they're etched into the soul like a fingerprint you can't wash off. We are all marked by the presence of others, whether we acknowledge it or not. Watts often spoke of the illusion of separateness. That we think we're these islands cut off from one another, floating independently through space and time. But that's just what it looks like on the surface. Dive deeper, and you'll see differently. We're not separate beings bumping into each other. We're expressions of a singular, breathing, conscious universe, playing different roles. Like waves on the sea, we rise, we fall, but we are not apart. That illusion, it fades, eventually. Sometimes all it takes is remembering someone, and feeling them remember you back. You see, just because a person exits your life doesn't mean they've left your story. It doesn't mean they've stopped carrying you in theirs. Your impact isn't limited to what you know you did. Some of the most significant things you've ever given to someone you didn't even realize you were giving. It might have been a word you said on the worst day of their life. A glance that gave them hope, a quiet presence that let them breathe. And you forgot, but they didn't. It's a myth that relationships only live in conversation and contact. Sometimes, the richest relationships continue in silence, in memory, in the way someone drives past your old street and slows down, in the way they hear your favorite song and go still for a moment, not sure whether to smile or cry. And yes, maybe they've changed. Maybe time and pain have wrapped themselves around the person they used to be. Maybe you've both grown beyond recognition. But that thread, it's still there. Connection doesn't care about geography, or ego, or the calendar. It just is. And that's the wild, beautiful part. Because you don't need permission to care about someone. You don't need evidence to feel connected. That bond lives outside of proof. It exists even when it's quiet. Even when they never reach out. Even if they don't remember your birthday, or like your posts, or respond to your texts, there's a part of them that still carries a part of you. And there's a part of you tender, vulnerable, achingly human that wonders, am I remembered? Did I matter? The answer is yes. Yes, you mattered. You matter. Not just for what you did or said, but for who you were when someone needed you. For the light you didn't even know you were holding up. For simply being a witness in someone else's becoming. That doesn't vanish. It never did. And if this truth reaches you now, if it stirs something in your chest, it might be time to reach out. To let someone know they're still there in your heart. It's not about rekindling what was, or fixing what's broken. Sometimes it's just about presence. About letting the past breathe again, gently, without expectation. A message doesn't have to be poetic. It can be simple. Hey, I thought of you today. And that might be enough to remind them they weren't imagining it. That what you shared was real. That yes, they're remembered too. But whether you reach out or not, know this. You've left traces of yourself in lives you don't even realize. You've walked through hearts like a breeze through an open window, and something shifted because of you. That's the legacy. Not the titles, not the accomplishments, but the invisible ways you softened someone's pain, or lit up a room, or changed the course of someone's thought in the quiet hour of the night. Alan Watts would probably tell you that this is what it means to awaken. To see through the veil of separateness. To realize you've never been alone, not in the way you feared. Because consciousness is communal. It's shared. We're reflections, echoes, reverberations of each other. And if that's true, then no goodbye is ever final.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
No moment is ever lost, and no one is ever truly forgotten. So the next time someone appears in your mind, that invited, unannounced pause, don't brush it off. That may not be your memory reaching for them. It may be their heart whispering toward yours. Listen, because maybe, just maybe, they need you to remember them too. And in that remembering, you remind yourself, I belong. I have left love behind me. And love, somehow, never really leaves. Let that be your peace tonight. Let that be your homecoming. Now, you may wonder, why does this matter? Why should we care about people who are no longer part of our everyday lives? People who may have faded away quietly, or even left abruptly, because their impact remains. Alan Watts often reminded us that the universe is not a collection of separate things, it's a single flowing process, temporarily appearing as separate forms. You, me, everyone we've loved or lost, we are not solitary islands but continuous waves in the ocean of being. Think about that for a moment. What if your life isn't yours alone? What if every glance, every conversation, every forgotten laugh became a thread in someone else's internal tapestry? And what if, right now, there's someone lying in bed with your name caught in their memory, not even consciously, not out of longing or regret, but simply because you moved something in them that has never quite gone back to how it was before? That's not fiction. That's life. Quiet, real, messy life. Because connection is never erased. It changes shape. It deepens or recedes. But it doesn't disappear. When you meet someone, truly meet them, you enter into their nervous system, their memory bank, their emotional terrain. You walk their dreams for a while. And they walk yours, sometimes forever, even if the relationship didn't last, even if it was complicated, even if it ended in silence. You still mattered. You still matter. And here's the twist, you've done this for more people than you will ever know. Not because you were trying, but because you were present, because you were you. Unrepeatable, unfiltered, and real. Watts often poked at the way we measure life, how we keep score based on outcomes, titles, responses, and reciprocation. But he urged us to drop that habit, because existence doesn't deal in outcomes. It deals in unfolding, in presence, in energy, in essence. And your essence, yes, even your quiet, anxious, unpolished, imperfect essence has shaped lives. There is a version of someone's story in which you are the one who mattered. You may never hear it, they may never say it, but it's there. And sometimes, that's enough. Let me ask you something quietly, gently. Who do you still think of? Not out of pain, not out of need, but from that strange, sacred place that just remembers. Maybe someone who stood with you at a bus stop during a hard winter. Maybe someone who sat with you in a hospital hallway. Maybe a friend who drifted away because life got noisy. They're still there, aren't they? Their smile, their voice, a way they used to say your name. They live in you like music, like a photograph you don't even realize is still taped to the inside of your chest. So if they live in you, do you think it's really so impossible that you live in them, too? Sometimes we forget how much we give, simply by being. Not because we're saints or sages, not because we've done anything extraordinary, but because presence itself is extraordinary. Because kindness, in its simplest form, a word spoken, a moment shared, is miraculous in a world where everyone's fighting their own invisible battles. And what if the version of you that existed in someone's hardest moment was the reason they got through it? What if you were the lighthouse without even realizing it? Would that not be worth remembering? This is what Watts meant when he spoke of the web of interconnection. The great Tao, the cosmic game of hide and seek, where we pretend to be separate for the joy of remembering we never were. We've all become experts in forgetting. We forget how much we matter. We forget how deeply we've loved. We forget that someone, somewhere, still carries our laughter like a secret inside their ribs. But memory has its own agenda. It doesn't need logic. It doesn't need a reason. It will bring someone back to you in a dream, or in a scent, or in a song you haven't heard since you were 19. And suddenly, your heart will ache, not because you miss them, but because you never stopped loving them. Even if you thought you did. Even if you tried to. Even if you told yourself it was over. Love doesn't work like that. Neither does connection. They don't die. They just change. They go underground like roots. And sometimes without warning they bloom again. Not to disrupt your life, but to remind you of your humanity. So when someone comes to mind, don't ignore it. That's not just nostalgia. That might be the universe nudging you. That might be the echo of something unspoken, still waiting to be acknowledged. You don't have to write a novel. You don't have to explain. Sometimes, hey, I remembered you today. I hope you're okay, is enough to break open the silence and remind someone that they were never forgotten. And even if you don't reach out, if it feels too raw, too complicated, still remember them. Not with bitterness, not with pain, but with reverence, because they were part of your becoming. Because, in some unrepeatable moment, they were your entire universe. And even if everything fell apart after that, even if the goodbye came too early, or too late, or not at all, the connection was real. It still is. Watts would tell us this: to be human is to remember, to love without guarantee, to be the echo and the origin, the whisper and the silence, to leave parts of yourself behind, knowing you'll never get them back, but also knowing you've taken parts of others with you, and they now live inside your story. So maybe, in this very moment, someone is sitting in a quiet room, remembering you. Maybe your name just passed through their chest like a breeze. Maybe your kindness just saved them again, in some way you'll never know. And maybe that's enough, because if we knew how much we've meant to others, we'd weep with gratitude. And if we saw the threads connecting us all, we'd never feel alone again. So hold that truth close tonight. You are not forgotten. You are not gone. You are not lost in the silence of someone's past. You are the warmth in someone's present. You are the echo in someone's memory. You are the wave that never left the ocean. And somewhere out there, someone still thinks of you. With love. Certainly. Let's continue softly, like picking up a thread from the tapestry of human memory. Because this isn't just about reflection. It's about healing. It's about reminding you that no matter how much time has passed or how far someone has drifted, the imprint you left wasn't erased. It was etched. And that matters more than you know. Think of the quiet moments, not the dramatic ones, the goodbyes, the arguments, the promises made at midnight. No, I mean the quiet ones. The time you lent a pen. The time you listened without trying to fix. The time you sat in silence next to someone while they broke down, without a single word needing to be said. Those moments, they stay. Long after the birthdays and anniversaries are forgotten. Long after phone numbers change and social media profiles go dark. Long after your name becomes something that tastes like distance on someone else's tongue. Still, those moments live on. They become part of the architecture of a person's becoming. A brick here, a window there, the part of the house that gets the most light. You helped build that. Maybe someone out there still walks past a place they once stood with you and feels the memory stir. Maybe the smell of a particular soap, or the sight of a song title on a playlist, brings them back to a version of themselves that only existed with you. Isn't that something sacred, to exist, even now, in someone's silent inventory of meaning? Alan Watts often spoke about the illusion of endings. How we trick ourselves into believing that things finish, that what doesn't continue in form is somehow gone. But the truth is, endings are mental construct. Nothing really ends. It changes form. It deepens. It settles. It becomes the soil for something else. That friendship you had in high school, the one that felt like the sun and the sky. It may have faded, but not completely. Not in the parts of you that grew because of it. Not in the laughter that still echoes inside when a memory hits you sideways. That love that didn't survive the storm. It's still here. In how you learned to say I'm sorry better. In how you now understand silence. In how you became softer with people because you know how fragile it all is. We carry one another. In scars and smiles. In patterns and dreams. And yes, sometimes in aching silence. But silence doesn't mean absence. Not truly. Sometimes silence is just what's left when words have done all they can, and what remains is the feeling that never left. That's why you suddenly think of someone you haven't seen in years. That's why they appear in a dream. That's why, in your quietest moments between the dishes and the evening light, you feel a pulse in your chest and wonder, where did they go? Maybe they didn't. Maybe, in some sense, they never left. Maybe they're wondering the same about you. And no, this doesn't mean we have to go back. This isn't about rekindling everything or reopening doors that were meant to close. Some chapters finish for a reason. But that doesn't mean they didn't matter. That doesn't mean they didn't shape you. Watts would invite us to drop the notion of linearity. Life, he'd say, isn't a straight line. It's not a timeline of progress and failures. It's a dance. It loops and bends and spirals. And sometimes it circles back, not to repeat, but to remember. To heal. To recognize the way we were once held gently, imperfectly by someone we no longer speak to. You see, someone from your past might still carry your name like a soft ache in their ribs. Not a regret, not a wound. Just a memory with warmth in it, because we remember kindness. We remember being seen. We remember the one time someone let us cry without flinching, or the moment someone said exactly what we needed to hear before we even knew we needed it. Not because you were perfect, not because you did everything right, but because you were there, fully, honestly, for a moment in someone's life when it counted. And that's the part of you that they'll always carry. So maybe tonight, instead of scrolling past the names in your phone, you pause, you close your eyes, you think of that person, yes, that one, and instead of wondering whether they've forgotten you, you just remember them, silently, gratefully. And if the feeling feels brave enough, maybe you even write them, not to fix, not to change, but to say, hey, I remembered you. Thank you. That's it. And maybe they'll reply. Or maybe they won't. But in that act, in that sacred honoring of what was shared, you become part of something bigger. You tune into the truth that connection doesn't need maintenance to remain meaningful. That love doesn't vanish just because the form changes. You become the echo, singing softly back across time. You are seen. You are felt. You are not forgotten. Because someone from your past still thinks of you. And always will. And perhaps the most beautiful part, you may never know exactly who still carries you. That's the quiet grace of it all. Because while we search for evidence, texts, likes, replies, invitations, life is moving beneath the surface. Memory is working silently. And you might be alive in someone's heart in a way that doesn't need to announce itself. It just is. Like the way a song from years ago makes them pause mid-sentence. Or how a familiar smell stops them in a grocery store aisle, their chest tightening before they even realize why. They don't say your name out loud. They might not even remember the last words you shared. But your presence flickers in their nervous system, in their dreams, in their choices. That joke you used to tell. They told it to someone else. The advice you gave. It helped them through something dark. The way you once made them feel. It became their standard. Their compass. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.